Welcome to Spiritual Dialogue with Father Udon de Castro. We are here at Cariana Lay Monastic Community. I'm your host, Brother Lodi, and with us is Sister Tachi. Sister?
Father, I'm just thinking, for you in a high position like a bishop, to say there is no hell, you are putting many people in danger of going to hell. So, Father, is that part of your plan, and for what price? For the whole world, or only for a cardinalship? Or am I just
Well,
being very personal about it?
well,
As
not
Thomas
really.
More says, di ba? For whales,
This is really a
what?
diabolical movement, no? In the sense that sometimes people do not realize what they're doing because they feel they're doing it out of charity.
Charity.
Charity in the sense that they feel that these are all acts of charity. You know? Charity in the sense that, if you're worried about going to hell, let's abolish hell.
Oh, so you
So that
don't
now you
worry.
don't have to worry.
Oh.
I mean, the best way of removing problems is not to worry about it. And so they feel that's a good news, that abolishing hell. No? So that is really a false way of winning souls, but there is nothing you can do. That's how they had developed in the spiritual life. So the whole idea is what we're having is a big problem, as Brother Lord is saying. We have a pope who says there is no hell, and we have bishops who are telling us that there is no hell. There's a pope who says that adultery is all right, and of course some bishops are also saying the same thing, that adultery is all right. I haven't heard in the Philippines any bishop who is saying that, but practically the biggest number of bishops in Germany have already implemented allowing adulterers to receive Holy Communion. So the danger is to have a pope who's teaching heresy. The ordinary rule is if you have a pope that is teaching heresy, you should leave the church, because it could be not the true church. Because popes are infallible, they're not supposed to believe in heresies. So if the pope is in heresy, you have a pope who is not infallible,
Yes, Father.
and probably you're not in the right church. And so when we hear news about, let's say, the Society of St. Pius X, this is a big group, who wants to enter into the Vatican Church, to be united to the Church of the Vatican. You hear the Orthodox Church who likes to be united to the Vatican. My advice is you better check muna. You first check whether the doctrines being taught by the Vatican is Catholic, because you're trying to enter the Catholic Church. But don't you see that the Catholic Church are teaching now wrong doctrines? They should double check before entering. And so I would say don't enter unless you have first checked that the doctrines of this church are Catholic. And the moment they say there is no hell, you better not join.
That's not Catholic doctrine.
But that can happen with the bishops. The bishops don't believe in hell. You better not follow that bishop. Either change your diocese or demand that the bishop be changed. Now we go to the question of what should we do
Yes, Father.
when these are confusing times. God has given us the solution. He says you have to learn 3 things.
What are these, Father?
3 things to save your soul. And the moment you know these 3 things, you don't need bishops, you don't need priests, you don't need pope. You can go to heaven by yourself if you know these 3 things and put it into practice.
Please explain it to us, Father.
Yeah, the first thing is for you to know all the commandments of God.
Oh my God.
The 10 Commandments of God,
First,
the Old
the
Testament.
10 in the Old Testament, and the 2 commandments in the New Testament. That's only 12. That's easy.
Okay, 12 commandments.
Yeah.
But in essence, it is loving God alone.
Yeah, in essence, that all those commandments is tantamount to loving God. So that's the first thing. You must know all the commandments of God. And that's the problem we have. That the Pope Francis, and the bishops don't know the commandments of God. By the mere fact they allow adulterers to receive Holy Communion shows ignorance.
The 10 Commandments.
For them to say there is no hell is ignorance.
Yes, Father.
So they do not know the commandments. Secondly, you must know the 2 interpretations of the commandments.
Okay.
2 interpretations.
2 interpretations. The Old Testament interpretation
see.
and the New Testament interpretation. Like prayer, fasting, and good works, during Advent is defined in the Old Testament.
Yes, Father.
But after Holy Week, prayer, fasting, and good work is defined according to the New Testament.
What is the interpretation in the New Testament, Father?
Different. Like, for instance, fasting in the Old Testament is don't eat certain food.
Yes.
In the New Testament, it's do not desire
Yes, Father.
worldly things. It's free will, intellect and free will. So it's deeper. So you must know they call it the literal and the mystical interpretation of the commandments of Christ.
Yes, Father.
Now, if the Pope Francis, and our bishops do not even know what are the commandments,
How can they interpret?
how can they have the correct interpretation? And the third is, since there are many commandments, you must know the proper order in observing it. Like, for instance, to go to heaven, you must have faith, hope, and charity.
Yes.
And the way to observe it is you must begin with faith
Yes, Father.
and end with charity. Don't start with charity because that would be impossible.
Yes, Father.
You must follow the proper order.
Faith, hope, and charity.
Yeah. Like love, charity. You must love God first, and then your neighbors. If you love your neighbors first, you will not be able to love God.
And you cannot love God unless you have faith.
Yeah.
That's
Because
why
that's
faith is
charity.
number one.
That's why faith is before charity. So the order is very important. The order. Because Adam and Eve were given a command and they obeyed it.
Yes.
So they were good. They were good people. God told them to eat from the fruit, and they ate. But there was an order on which to eat first and which to eat second. And God said the first is the tree of life, the second is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And they inverted the order.
So they were not able to recognize the good and the bad because of this disordered thinking.
So their sin was not that they disobeyed the command, because they did not disobey the command. They obeyed it. But they changed the order.
Okay.
Many people cannot realize that. When you obey commands, they think that you have obeyed it and that's it. You have to follow the proper order. Like you, Brother Lodi, you have a wife.
Yes, Father.
Your neighbor has a wife.
Yes, Father.
You cannot love your neighbor's love first. Your
Yeah.
neighbor's wife first. You have to love your wife first.
Yes, Father.
And so, like in America, the president has to love the Americans first and not the Mexicans.
Yeah.
And yet the people of America, like the Democrats and many people there, want him to love first the Mexicans rather than the Americans.
For what reason?
For political reasons, for crazy reasons, for stupid reasons, you know. But it's wrong. The order is wrong.
Yes, Father.
So the same thing with us, you know. You know, there are many Filipinos.
Yes.
There are many poor Filipinos.
No, a lot.
You, Lodi, have seen them. They're in squatters.
Yes.
There was featured in television Filipinos in Cebu
Mm-hmm.
who are living in the cemetery,
Oh, my.
in the tombs, because they have no houses.
Because of the typhoon? Was that typhoon?
No, because they have
Nothing?
no house.
Just
Yeah,
poor?
The victims of Yolanda don't have houses yet up to now, because the houses made by the government are unlivable.
Yes, Father.
So we have plenty of Filipinos to help. And yet, I am suspecting that some bishops are telling the Philippine government to receive migrants from other countries to bring to the Philippines. The way the Democrats are forcing Donald Trump to bring numberless migrants into the United States, open borders.
That is because they are neglecting the Filipinos or the Americans.
Or in
Poor
short,
Americans.
they're changing the order of charity.
Yeah.
Now, when Adam and Eve changed the order, they were destined to go to hell. In fact, their whole children, the whole human race was destined to go to hell for that one sin of Adam and Eve, for changing the order of the command given to them. So imagine all these countries like France, Germany, the Vatican, who are changing the order
Charity.
and telling people to love first the migrants rather than their own countrymen. All of these people are destined to hell, just as Adam and Eve were first destined to hell after their disobedience.
That is a very clear disobedience thing.
Now, why would any bishop suggest that to the Philippine government? It's an invitation to bring the entire country to hell. It's like committing original sin. Original sin is not disobeying a command, it's just changing the order. And so now our government is being told to love foreigners ahead of loving the Filipinos.
Yes, that is what's happening now.
And my suspicion is that suggestion came from the bishops because that is the policy
Vatican.
of Pope Francis of Vatican. And probably it is being imposed on our bishops' conference, and these bishops' conference are just following without thinking.
Yeah. Oh.
Was it like in the paradise without thinking? Eve ate the.
Yeah, without thinking. Yeah, he wasn't thinking. And Adam was worse because he was not thinking at all.
Just follow the woman.
Yeah, the point. He saw that Eve had already sinned, you know. He should have stopped it. He should have prevented it going further by not eating, but he was more stupid, Adam, you know. He saw Eve sinning and he continued sinning. He was really dumb.
Father, we have only 1 minute.
So there we have the solution to all the confusion. We have given it that you must know first all the commandments of God.
Yes, Father.
You must know the literal and mystical interpretation of those commandments of Christ, which can be found in the writings of tradition. We call it tradition in the Catholic Church. And third, you must know the proper order in observing those commandments. The first is available, the first knowledge is available to everybody, but the second and the third is not available to everybody.
The second and third is supernatural.
They are supernatural knowledge. It is what you call, St. Thomas of Aquinas says, infuse knowledge.
And you need grace for that.
You need grace for that. That's why nobody knows it.
Thank you, Father. Thank you for watching Dialogue with Father Don De Castro. See you next episode, and thank you so much.
Hosanna, Hosanna, in excelsis, Hosanna.